Section 2 of the paper has different style questions, no multiple choice, but 4 or 5 parts. Earlier papers had 5 parts, but the exam committees have only written 4-part questions for the last few years. But they could ask 5. That's an example of the mark breakdown for this section: 2, 3, 8 and 12 marks. And conventionally, the final part is related to a source, a written or an archaeological source. With sections 2, 3 and 4, there is an expectation that you would write around 8 exam writing booklets, about 1,000 words in total for these sections. However, I have seen top range answers in 4 or 5 pages. It depends on how you present your argument and how concisely you write. Okay, so let's have a look at the type of questions. In last year's paper, the Part A question, which was only worth 2 marks, typically asked who was something or what was something, and you would give a brief, almost like a definitional answer. The Part Bs were describe the role of or the features of a certain aspect of the society, and Part C questions asked how did something happen or how was something achieved. So that's an explanation. So the first 2 are largely descriptive, the third one was an explanation, and the fourth one, with reference to source X and other sources, what does the evidence reveal about either religious conflict, religious practice, or religious beliefs in society? That was worth 10 marks. And that's the same sort of question that was asked in section 1, the final question, where you have to draw from source provided, include reference to other sources where it's relevant, and answer the question that is asked. So the Part D in last year's paper was really, you could provide an explanation and still get into the top mark range, or you could even present an argument. It would depend on the question that was asked and the topic that you chose. With the society questions, could I strongly advise you to answer on the society that you studied, the one that you prepared. When you get into the exam is not the time to change your mind and pick something that looks more attractive. Stick with what you've been preparing. If we look at a typical 3-mark response, what were the cecitia, what the markers are looking for there is accuracy and detail in your use of historical terms and concepts. So the question from a couple of years ago, what were the cecitia? And the response there, very straightforward, no wasted space. If it's worth 3 marks and it's asked for a descriptive response like that, you would be thinking in your own mind to provide 3 elements or 3 aspects to the answer. So first aspect, defining what they were, the messes, where the Spartiates ate their evening meal. Membership of a Sycition was required for Spartan citizenship, and all Spartiates were required to make a monthly contribution to the Sycition from the produce of their kleros. So this student clearly knows what a Sycition, what the Sycitia were. Okay, for the Part D question, the final question, if it were a 5-parter, it would be Part E. You can't score, no matter how good your response is in terms of detail, and no matter how well written it is, if you haven't referred to the source, if you haven't integrated information from the source into your response, you can't score in the top mark range. You can refer to other relevant sources, both primary and secondary, written or archaeological, to support your explanation. The examiners tell us that in better responses, candidates referred to the source and other sources and drew conclusions. And in weaker responses, candidates provided descriptions with little reference to evidence. So that's the distinguishing characteristic. If you just write a general narrative, you don't respond to the source, you can't do better than half marks. Okay, in section 3, you have, this is the personalities question, you have part A and part B. You must answer both part A and part B on the personality you have studied. Once again, the expected length of response is about 1,000 words or 8 exam writing booklets in total. You'd probably only do 2 of those, 2 or 3 for part A, the remainder for part B, because you're developing an argument. The syllabus tells us that this question could have 3 parts, but in the last few years the examiners have only asked 2 parts, but be prepared, it could be 3. Part A is largely descriptive and it's worth 10, and part B usually requires an argument or a judgment of some sort, and that's worth 15. And a rubric is provided to guide you.